Ladies, let's be real. How many times have you experienced some bullshit like this in your life?
Oh my God. Oh my God. You're that girl. Yeah, you're that girl that does all the sex talk on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. Yeah, I recognize you. I like your videos. They're pretty cute, pretty funny. Hey, I got a question for you. So, what's your favorite position? Oh, no, wait, don't tell me. Shh, baby. Don't tell me. I'm gonna guess. I guarantee you it's reverse cowgirl. Am I right? Huh? Oh, look at this. Looky here. This beautiful lassie here on the online dating program. What shall I say to her? Maybe I'll send a picture of my dick.
Now, I know some of you are probably already triggered thinking, why would you even say something like that? Why do they do these things? How do they think this could possibly work for them in any kind of way? Men are such pigs, right? We've all been there. But what if they were just doing the same thing that we pretty much do to them, which is expecting the opposite sex to act like the same sex? What if some of these guys who say things that we see as harmful and inappropriate are just trying to banter with us the way they do with their buddies? Because no one ever taught them how to interact with us in effective ways. And we as women can often unfairly view men as hairier women with a penis, and then find ourselves really disappointed or even pissed off if, men don't respond to us like our girlfriends do. I had a situation recently with a guy who just approached me in a similar way as what you just saw here. And I've never met the guy, didn't know him, has a few interactions online, social media, and he just sent me this message out of the blue, out of nowhere, without even so much as any kind of social lubrication whatsoever, and just threw in this inappropriate question that was really none of his business. And this is kind of what it felt like.
Oh, hey, you, I got a question for you.
And I was also curious to know what, if anything, were you thinking when you sent that? I wanted to understand and give him a chance to let me know what his intentions were. So I sent him a voice message so that he could hear my tone. Often things get lost in text. And I said it very much like I would say to a friend. I just said, dude, you can't be talking to me like this. You can't be asking me questions like this when you don't even know me, I wanted to let him know. I said, I don't really believe that you meant any harm, but I want you to understand that you're asking me that question. It was not the right context. It was just not the right place, time. Nothing about it was right. And it all was upsetting to me. Now, I'm not easily offended, but there's some things that I want to make you aware of, depending on what you were trying to accomplish there. Maybe that's worked for you in the past, but I want you to be aware that you could be creating even more conflict and division and hostility between men and women. You could be confirming things that we have been thinking at times about the way we have been treated and approached by men, and I don't think that's what you want to do. And frankly, I think we're all growing very tired and just exhausted from beating each other up in life. So his the first thing he addressed was that he thanked me and appreciated that I didn't just automatically assume that he meant some kind of harm against me and writing him off as a jerk. I was literally on the brink of confirming a lie based on my own personal and past experiences. And that lie was only going to fuel the fire of conflict and put me in a space of proving to myself that men can't be trusted. But just making this one decision to communicate changed everything. And the fact that he heard what I said and acknowledged, oh, I did not mean any harm, and thank you for not assuming that I did and giving me the opportunity to explain. And he was basically just, trying to create conversation like one of his buddies. Hey, and again, like I mentioned before, we can often treat each other like the same sex, expecting to get the same sort of responses. But just making that one decision to actually communicate with him changed everything. And it actually resulted in a real and authentic friendship with this guy. And as we moved deeper into the conversation, I loved that he was actually able to hold the space for me, because I kept saying, as I'm talking to you, I'm still trying to process and get to the core of what was so upsetting and hurtful about what you said, because I'm not easily offended. And I'm a very fair person. So I'm trying to think, what got triggered in me? What got stirred up by what you said? And as we talked over literally the next day or so, I was getting more and more clarity. And when I got to the bottom of what it was that was really bubbling up for me in my psyche, this is the picture that came to mind. And so that's how I got to working with, girls and women with trauma. And then that opened up a whole new world for me, because I started seeing how, my own trauma, that got stirred up in working with all these other women with trauma. And it has just evolved into this massive, very passionate life mission that I have now. And it is so important to me. And so, yeah, I love my work. I've had a heck of a journey to get here. It's taken a lot. How about you? Well, why are you staring at me like that? It was never about what he said so much as it was about not being seen as an actual person and more as an object. And we women have seen a lot of that. And so as I started to really sift through it, I was seeing how much work I have put in my whole lifetime, work recovering and healing from abuse at the hands of many different men, many different forms of abuse. That takes a lot of courage, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And not only that, but I have invested so much time, money, energy, resources into trainings, into counseling, into healing programs, just everything that I have put into showing up as healthy as possible for myself and for the world around me, and then to help to give what I've learned to other people in the same, who are going through the same things. I have invested a lot in this work that has now become my life's mission, and I felt like all he was seeing was sex or, just certain things and he wasn't seeing a real person. And it made me feel like he was shitting on my work, on my life's work. But the truth of this, as we continued on deeper through this, was that that's what I made it mean for me. And that is not at all where he was coming from or what he meant or what he wanted to put out into the world. And if we hadn't had this uncomfortable conversation, I would have been emotionally setting up camp in a war zone with assumptions and triggers as my ammunition. And I don't want to put that out there either. So this conversation just gave us this opportunity to heal some wounding between the masculine and the feminine and to receive a deeper understanding of each other. And it was a risk that was definitely worth taking. And even if he had given me an ugly, dishonoring response, it would still be my job to honor my own work, my own body, my mission. And no one has the power to take that from me, to make me dishonor any of that but me. So what's your thought? Is this guy a Neanderthal because of what he said? Not at all. He's just a regular dude who's trying to figure out how to interact with other humans, especially women, in a world that has not given him much space to get it wrong. He's a man who really just wants the same things we all want. We want meaningful connections. We want to feel loved, respected, and honored in relationship. And if we're being honest, we as women can sometimes come down kind of hard on them and define their ways of being and doing as failures when they're really just doing it differently than us. And then if we add to this that in our culture, women and girls, we have been honored and supported in society for our efforts and our journeys into empowerment. And that's awesome because, I have spent many years of my life ensuring that that continues. We've needed that. But where is the empowerment? Where are the resources and the support for men in that journey? Often this society expects them to just be born empowered and not need anything from us or from anyone. And when they do, it kind of scares the shit out of us sometimes, whether we want to admit it or not. And heaven forbid if they go and ask for it, ask for empowerment, and go towards the effort to heal in some way. They'll often be called pussies for it and brutally shamed. Now, is that really fair? Think for a moment about what kind of support is offered out there. What kind of opportunities are offered for men to grow and heal from their traumas? If you've ever loved yourself enough to go through that process, then you already know that that process can be fucking paralyzing. So what would happen if we just started creating space for our men to fall apart in order to heal? Where would we find ourselves? And I think if we're being honest, we might find that we rely on masculine strength to protect, to serve, to love, to provide more than we might think. And most men are more than happy to give us that freely. But when we shame and emasculate them and disrespect them by making them feel like we don't need them or that they don't meet our expectations, then they will retreat. An eventual shutdown can be expected. This is when they're all at risk of giving up and just not trying. They can lose their sense of purpose and adventure in the world, bury their gifts underneath all the rage and frustration. And they're left thinking, why try? You want a hero, but if I'm too strong, then I'm insensitive. You want a man who's in touch with his feminine side, but if I'm too emotional, then you feel unsafe. What would happen if our men just gave up? What kind of world would we live in if men just stopped being men because it's become too risky? Oh, wait a minute. We're already living in it.